And I must say that I'm happy for them, those that are happy. I'm happy for you. Splitting up any country is not too cool an idea. A person that I have had, and for all the new listeners out there, it's just impossible to explain my program. We do all kinds of unusual things all the time. And I never know from night to night what we're going to do. I will tell you this. We don't screen calls. I have no call screener, don't want one, don't have any need for one. I've been doing the program this way for about 11 years. By the way, the affiliate count now is 230 affiliates nationwide. So I never know what's going to happen. I do the program actually 5 hours a night. And if I had to come down here and do a Rush Limbaugh, and I like Rush, but I don't do what he does. If I had to do that, I would absolutely go practice. My wife has candles all over my room. I am appropriately decorated for Halloween, and I don't know where she found it, but she found, it does have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fingers. She brought me this candle that is burning in here, and it is a hand. 5 fingers, a hand and 5 fingers. And as the candle burns, blood runs, or red wax, I guess, but what sure does look like blood, runs down individually from each finger, staining the hand with blood as it drips. What a weird feeling. And from here in rural Nevada as well, I don't know where you would find such, but it is here. And the room is scattered with burning candles. My picture of Shannon Doherty has been desecrated. Says, I want your soul, with an S and a circle around it. Then there's a pumpkin city. So I'm appropriately outfitted for Halloween. Something a little sobering for you before we begin Ghost to Ghost. You're about to find out. We have had a man, a good friend of mine, is a man named Gordon Michael Scallion. He is, in my opinion, if there is such a real thing as a prophet or a visionary, Gordon Michael Scallion is the modern-day Edgar Casey, no question about it. Aside from a fact, which I got from him recently, saying, Art, look, no change. I'd come on the program, but no change in my predictions. Many of you may recall, his last words to us were, whatever you do, watch Vesuvius and Etna. I wonder if any of you recall that. Watch Vesuvius and Etna. Gordon Michael Scallion is predicting Earth changes that would make what we're going to do this morning seem like kid stuff. Well, my jaw hit my chest when I watched CBS Sunday Night News. Mount Vesuvius in Italy. There's been not much since 1944, where 50 died in a very minor explosion. Before that, 79 AD in Pompeii, 25,000 people dead. CBS said Vesuvius may be about to go up again. Experts are saying a series of quakes may be signaling a new major eruption. There is a voluntary evacuation called for, but where 25,000 in Pompeii is within striking distance from Pompeii, there are now 500,000, and they're not going to leave. Scallion said, watch Vesuvius and Etna, and I just sat there. I couldn't believe it. I actually woke my wife up. I said, you've got to see this. Richard in East Central California simply said a fact saying Vesuvius is going to blow. They're encouraging voluntary evacuation. I'm moving inland. Could I interest you in some California land? No. Small Earthquake in Alaska over the weekend, 4.8, something like that, nothing too serious. They have turned on Beta, the billion-channel extraterrestrial array. It is to look for aliens, to look for others anywhere out there. A major effort to find out if anybody is out there. Outside Boston, there is an 84-foot radio telescope. It is big. It's got new electronics. It is the private sector version, if you will, of SETI. SETI, as you know, has been defunded, but this one just turned on. There are, it is estimated, 100 million planets in our galaxy that may in all probability contain intelligent life. I said 100 million that may contain intelligent life. Scientists say it is not a matter of if we find it, but when. And so they are hoping that we will get the signal, and they are confident that we will. Also, over the weekend, Wright-Patterson, as you know, Air Force Base near, or in Dayton, Ohio, is a very, very unlikely place for nuclear peace. Very unlikely. And yet, they are going to be held there, according to CBS News Sunday, in the strictest security. And then, of course, all goes well or badly, depending on your point of view, you get some 25,000 men into an area where there are at least 100,000 land mines waiting to take their limbs. One more item, I call it, you will hear the phrase used on this program. I call it the quickening. I've been doing talk radio now for, this show actually, for 11 years, talk radio longer than that. And whether you're talking about social, economic, political matters, it doesn't matter. In every area of life, all around the world, things are beginning to occur at a faster pace. Now, I am not a Bible thumper, nor do I say we are headed toward some religious manifestation or change. I don't say that. I'm just telling you as a talk host, I'm watching very carefully, and to me it is more than obvious that we are headed toward something big. Some big change, some big something. I don't know. I'm just a talk host. I'm telling you, I call it the quickening. And to add to it, there is a mystery epidemic sweeping northwestern Nicaragua. It has now infected thousands of people, killing 12 so far. Doctors unable to stop it. Clinics in a town of 13,000 say they've been deluged by patients in rural areas complaining of bleeding of the nose, gums, headaches, body aches, severe fatigue. In dramatic form, patients have come in and collapsed in the unit. One doctor told Reuters, all we can do is halfway stabilize them and send them off to Lyon. They only go to die there. So we have got another one, ladies and gentlemen, a new mysterious disease of some kind. We don't know what it is, but we do know that it is. All right, in a moment, we are going to start down a very different path. Interesting as all of that news may be, there will be lots of airtime in the next several days to talk about it. Because this morning, we are going to, I don't know if the word is celebrate, but we are going to make significant note of Halloween. And we are going to do it in a serious way. And before I even begin, I want to lay down a few ground rules. Number one, no jokes. I'm only interested in serious, and I mean serious and true ghost stories there are. Okay. Is there life after death? It is probably one of the biggest questions troubling mankind, has been since probably we've been walking around thinking about stuff like this. Well, one sure way, one possible way, I guess I ought to say, to determine if there is life, a spirit that exists beyond the one we have with the physical body, that increasingly burdens us as we travel down life's long two-toed highway. If there is some spirit that lives beyond the body, one way and one area of exploration is obviously the spirit world. It's been quite some time now, but on this very day, back, I believe, in 1926, Harold Houdini died. How do you suppose he died on Halloween? Just coincidence? Perhaps. At any rate, back to my ground rules. I want only serious stories. Ghost stories of one sort or another. And that's what we're going to do all night long. Now, the audience had a big talk about it last week. Now, obviously, when I come on the air tomorrow night in this time zone, it still will be Halloween. So we will do tonight in totality. Tomorrow night will be partial, depending on how it goes. But on this program, we celebrate. We note profoundly this day. Celebrate it as well. So, in a moment, a couple of stories to prep you for that stuff. All right, here is a true but bizarre story. Now, this is still not yet quite Halloween fodder, but I wanted you to hear it. On March 23rd, 1994, the medical examiner viewed the body of Ronald Opus and concluded that he died from a shotgun wound of the head. Not unusual yet in our society. The descendant had jumped from the top of a 10-story building intending to commit suicide. He left a note that indicated his despondency. As he fell past the 9th floor, his life was interrupted by a shotgun blast through a window, which killed him instantly. Bear in mind, the fellow had jumped out of a very high floor, but as he came by floor number 9, his head literally was blown off by a shotgun. Neither the shooter nor the decedent was aware that a safety net had been erected at the 8th floor level to protect some window washers, and that Opus would not have been able to complete his suicide anyway because of that. Strange. Ordinarily, Dr. Mills continued, quote, a person who sets out to commit suicide ultimately succeeds, even through the mechanism, even though it might not be what he really intended to be. That Opus was shot on the way to certain death 9 stories below probably would not have changed his mode of death from suicide to homicide. But the fact that his suicidal intent would not have been successful caused the medical examiner to feel that he had homicide on his hands. The room on the 9th floor where the shotgun blast emanated was occupied by an elderly man and his wife. Get this, they were arguing, and he was threatening her with a shotgun. He was so upset that when he pulled the trigger, he completely missed his wife, and the pellets went through the window, hitting Opus, who was on the way to what he thought was his death anyway. When one intends to kill subject A, but kills subject B in the event, one is guilty of the murder of subject B. When confronted with this charge, the old man and his wife were both adamant that neither one of them knew the shotgun was loaded. The old man said it had been his long-standing habit to threaten his wife with an unloaded shotgun. He had no intention to murder her. Therefore, the killing of Opus appears to be an accident. That is to say, the gun had been accidentally loaded. The continuing investigation detectives turned up a witness who saw the old couple's son loading the shotgun about 6 weeks prior to the fatal incident. It transpired that the old lady had cut off her son's financial support, and the son, knowing the propensity of his father to use the shotgun in a threatening way, loaded the gun with the expectation that his father would shoot his mother. The case now becomes one of murder on the part of the son for the death of Ronald Opus. Can you believe it? There was an exquisite twist. Further investigation revealed that the son, Ronald Opus, had become increasingly despondent over the failure of his attempt to engineer his own mother's murder. This is what led him to jump off the 10-story building on March 23rd, only to be killed by a shotgun blast through a 9th-story window. The medical examiner closed the case as that of a suicide. So, there you got it. The weirdest but true story I could possibly have found for you to kick off Halloween 1995. That one is weird, but it is true. And maybe it's true that there is sometimes a very immediate kind of justice to those who would do evil. All right, prepare yourselves. It's coming. Ghost to Ghost AM is next. Here we go. Here's one I've got a whole group of stories for you, which have come from all of you. And I've simply chosen some of them to kick off everything. Art, my first experience occurred in the early 70s. I was doing some college radio on WPKN-FM in Bridgeport, Connecticut. Now, alone, that's pretty spooky. There's a legend in a town eastern nearby about a swamp monster, a Sasquatch type of creature. We decided to do a Halloween special in search of the Eastern monster, so we wanted it to be a serious program. We researched past sightings, interviewed locals, even procured volunteers from the community to go along and verify our findings, or lack thereof. The night of the expedition finally arrived. We loaded up 3 cars with personnel, audio, camera equipment, took off to the side of a reservoir where sightings had been reported. All 3 cars pulled off to a small clearing between the road and the reservoir. We turned off the engine, sat there in the darkness, waiting, audio recorders rolling, cameras ready to shoot. Not a person spoke. Suddenly, at the exact same moment, in all 3 cars, verified later, by listening to the tape, at least one person in each car yelled, "Let's get the hell out of here." There was no communication between the cars. We all quickly drove back to the radio station, nobody speaking a word in Russian. When we got there, our producer had the foresight to suggest that no one say anything, but simply take a piece of paper and write down what had scared us. When we compared notes, we all had written the same thing. We had seen the figure of a woman around 30 with long flowing hair and a long white gown floating down the center of the road. She was transparent. As we were not looking for a ghost, this can hardly be considered group hypnosis. We had been looking for a Sasquatch, needless to say. We were all terribly unnerved and immediately canceled the special, telling our audience there had been technical difficulties. That is from Steve Fisher in Bellevue, Washington. And it is but one of several broadcast-related stories of this sort that I have for you this morning. I'm telling you right now, there are things that you do not understand, and there are many people out there that put them off as this or that. I am not one of those people. To sort of set the mood for you, I'm not going to be fooling around with weird little sound effects and that sort of thing through the night, because I think that takes away from the reality of what we're going to do. You know, I'm not going to make a joke out of it, but I do have a couple of sound effects collected over the last couple of weeks that I may use. The first I'm going to let you hear is, remember, there's a lot of new listeners out there. I do a show on Sunday called Green Man that deals with this kind of material all the time. Linda Howe, widely reputed to be the world's, I say expert, she doesn't like that term, investigator. She is a journalist who looks into crop circles, animal mutilations, and Sasquatch of late. Sent to me a tape of the sound of what is said to be Bigfoot. And try and imagine yourself out in the middle of the woods, in the middle of nowhere. Brace yourself. If you've got a cat on your lap, get it off now. I'm telling you. This is the sound sent to me by Linda Howe. The sound of Sasquatch. To hear that sound out in the middle of the night somewhere. So if I use any sound effects, it'll be this and one other. And that's it. And that's because they are said to be the real thing, which is what I want from you this morning. The real thing. If you've got a ghost story and you can tell it well, then I encourage you to pick up the telephone, and I guess I better cover the phone business right now, then we'll go to the line. All right? Here it is. If you have never called this program before, feel free to call our first-time caller line. It is area code 702-727-1222. 702-727-1222. Or you may wish instead to try what we call the wild card line, area code 702-727-1295. 702-727-1295. Toll free from west of the Rockies, anywhere west of the Rockies, it's 1-800-618-8255. 1-800-618-8255. East of the Rockies, anywhere east of the Rockies, toll free, it's 1-800-825-5033. 1-800-825-5033. Now here's the trick. Let them ring until they're answered. If you have not been picked up, they'll cut you off. The phone company does that. We don't. Pick it up, redial, try again. Persistence is power, and eventually you will get through it. So let us begin. The night is yours. Ghost to Ghost AM is on the air. And you will be the first caller, first-time caller, area 702-727-1222. We don't take last names on the air. Okay. So we didn't get started very well there because I had to leave that out. So let us begin all over again. Just give us your first name only.
Okay, yeah.
And where are you?
I'm in Santa Maria.
Santa Maria, California.
Hello, I'm trying to start off as your first caller. I'm pretty lucky. Probably the best time to start off. I work at a radio station. And it's broadcast. Your show.
You work at one of my affiliates.
Yeah, over at KSMA.
In Santa Maria? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's excellent.
Yeah.
Are you presently on duty?
No, I'm in my room.
I see. All right.
My dad and my
for a KSMA?
Yeah. The way it goes is a guy that used to work there, sorry, very offensive.
Just relax. No, I've never heard this, and since you're one of my affiliates, gee, I'm surprised. Maybe you thought maybe they don't want this out?
No, I asked my dad really, and at first, my sister said that maybe he wouldn't like to know about this stuff, but he said it was okay.
All right.
And anyway, this guy, he was working on the inside, and he was doing a game, baseball game or something. And my sister, she works over on the game, and she does games every once in a while, but I usually work on the FM side.
Right.
And he had a occurrence happening there. I don't know how long ago it was, maybe 5 or 6 years ago. This guy was working a game, and the guy on the FM side comes out, and he sees this guy lying on the floor. And he called up my dad and said,
Is your dad the manager of program director?
he's operations manager.
I see.
And he called him and said, yes, his name. I think you better get over here. This guy is on the floor, and I think he's dead.
Bad
And
news.
so, yeah.
I wouldn't want that myself.
My dad got over there, and by the time he was over there, paramedics were there working on him and everything. And so, he eventually died, and he said it was from a heart attack. And it's in the middle of the game.
Yeah.
And so the guy found him. One night, he goes through the hall. There's a long hall that's about 50 feet. He checked it for boxes and stuff. Anything that's in the way you might step on.
Well, sure.
And he turns up the light, and he comes down the layer, and then he stumbles and falls. And he turns on the light, there's nothing there. And it was right next to the air room, I suppose. And anyway, later on,
Let me guess. You stumbled over the body.
I don't know, but it was supposedly where he had found it.
Where the body is.
Nothing was there when he turned on the light.
Well, Jeff, thank you for the story. That's not unusual, and it's a great way to set everything up. I am glad that you were here first. You see, this is the essence, I believe. And I've interviewed many people on Dreamland, this program, and others, experts in this area. And don't ask me, because again, I'm good at talking. But when people die suddenly, painfully, sometimes murdered, sometimes with drastically unfinished business, unrequited love, or whatever it might be, for some reason, the spirit seems to linger. And that's 2 radio station stories in a row. I don't know if I like that. But it's the truth. Now, at one point during a Jeff call, you could hear a little sound, a little hum. That's because I didn't even need to ask him. He was obviously on a purple telephone. All right, east of the Rockies, you are on the air. Good morning.
Hi, how are you, Art?
Fine.
Can I go ahead and, tell you,
Well, of course, where are you?
I'm actually in Reno, listening on KOH.
Well, actually, then you're on the wrong line.
Oh, am I?
This is east of the Rockies. The number you want to call is 1-800-618-8255.
I don't even have a pen.
Well, that's the number. So thank you very much for the call, and I'll repeat it again. 1-800-618-8255. West of the Rockies. East of the Rockies is 1-800-825-5033. Again, east, you're on the air. Hi.
Yes, sir, this is, Tony from Pueblo, listening to you on KCSJ.
Pueblo, Colorado. Fine. Welcome to the program.
Story I have, it actually happened, summer of 1986, right before I went to the service.
Yes.
I'm originally from North Carolina, and the part,
I can hear it in your voice.
yeah, just a little bit of an accent. The part of the country I'm from is known very well for its ghost stories and UFO sightings and things of that nature. On this particular night, me and a couple of my off doing typical high school guy thing.
You need not describe him, I already know.
So we went ahead, got pretty bored with that, just seeing something interesting, so we decided to leave. So the house was located out in the country, I guess about 6 or 7 miles from the town I lived in. And we started back into town, and there's a long stretch of road called Copper Step Road in that area. We started down the road and it just got real awesome. Just like it just sat down there and threw me back there, so I figured it was one of them typical things, you know, it got a little bit cooler, the clouds came down.
And it just lays down.
And it just laid down on the road. So while we're going down through there, got to going talking about people that pick up hitchhikers. And the next thing you know, they'll turn over to talking to them, turn around, and they won't be there in the car.
Many stories.
So we're going down the road, and we come up to, I wouldn't say a fork road, I'd say an intersection or another road connected with the road we were on.
Yes.
As we approach it, we can just make out a person standing right on the side of the road, right at where the road is. And he's got his phone. Well, we're talking to each other, and I said, you know, why don't we just talk to the guy up? And I said, no, man, don't do it, you know, because we've just been talking about picking up this guy. So I said, no, I said, we're going to go ahead and do it. And I was driving. So I pulled the car over. The guy sitting beside me in the passenger seat rolls down the window, leans out and actually asking me to run. So he just automatically come back to me, and I mean, his face was just action. I mean, it just went there. And I leaned down and looked out the passenger window, and he had already asked me if he had wanted a ride. I looked at the guy, and the guy was as white as a sheet. And he was still looking down the road in the direction we were coming from. And he didn't move, didn't make any sign that he knew we were there. And the next thing I done was hit the gas and got out of there and passed the And that was, what, 9 years ago, and it's still, to this day I think about it and it kind of gives me chills.
And what is it that you think well, what was it?
You know, I don't know, because I've never seen him before, and I come from a pretty small town, and you know, it was, I guess it was a ghost thing. That's the only thing I can attribute to it. It was a ghost. It was an apparition.
An apparition. I appreciate the call, sir.
Yes, sir.
There you are. An apparition. Many stories presently circulating on the west coast of the country about hitchhikers getting into cars, talking about Gabriel's horn. Maybe concerts with, and then suddenly disappearing. Many such stories. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
I'm all right. Where are you?
I'm good.
Detroit, our first Detroit caller.
Yeah, welcome to Detroit.
Well, I thank you very much. We're very happy to be there.
Oh,
You will find this to be a pretty weird show.
well,
But it's an acquired taste. Give it a little time, you'll learn to like.
well, you've been recommended, and the only thing I did talk to you is that you're very cerebral.
Well, I'll take judgment on that after you've listened for about a week.
Okay. Is it 2 o'clock Eastern time? Now, I don't know if you're on
Well, no, it's coming up on midnight, the actual beginning of Halloween where I am, so I'm on Pacific time. And I believe in Detroit, even though it doesn't seem like you guys ought to be, you're on Eastern time, right?
Oh, you got it.
So it's coming up on 3 o'clock in the morning then.
Yep.
Yikes.
Well, I could normally stay up and talk with our late night host, and it's just not, you know, the 38 states, the Great Voice, the Great Lakes, but,
That's what I've heard. The WJR covers 38 states. That's remarkable.
isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely remarkable. And if I think about it, you know, it's a funny thing, sir. I've been on network now, doing network shows for several years, and yet every time a new station, a big one joins, I still get nervous, like right now. Listen, I'm coming up on a break, and so what I would like to do is Aaron Nichols, we will hold you over and bring you back after the news, all right?
Sounds good.
Now, you're not going to hear anything. Don't let it bother you. We'll be right back. This is CBC. Welcome to Ghost AM. Alright, the ground rules are simple. You tell the story, we'll listen. But it's gotta be a real one. Heaven knows, is it heaven? There are plenty of them out there. And going back now to a caller, my first caller, I might add, on WJR in Detroit. And I just, you said your radio station, sir, covers 38 states. I just got a fax from somebody. Said WJR 760 from Detroit is coming in here, gangbusters, and he sends the fax from Birmingham, Alabama. Name
Oh,
is
yeah.
Ron. So there you are, all the way down in Alabama.
You can get it in Detroit, Alabama.
Listen, Detroit, as we all know, is the center of some pretty strange activity. And I know there's a lot of volunteers out in the streets tonight trying to keep things quiet. I assume so far they are quiet.
Well, they haven't been too bad. I just had to go outside because my wife said she heard somebody parking out front. And it's like we had cars going out front 2 days ago. So it's not the best neighborhood, but then again, it's not the worst.
Well, I've got a way to keep people inside. Did you hear last hour the Bigfoot sound I played?
Oh, yeah.
You did, huh? All
Hey,
right.
my dog.
Well, I've got something else I want. If there's anything that'll keep the people in Detroit inside, try and imagine this outside. Listen carefully. How'd you like to meet something like that out in the middle of the street in the middle of the night?
Well, I think I just heard that a few minutes ago. My wife's 8 3/4 months pregnant.
Well, I hope she stays that way.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, we're almost going to have the baby today, being Halloween, but we're going to have it tomorrow.
Well, I hope I didn't bring anything to it. So.
Oh, no.
Anyway, have you ever seen anything you could not explain?
Well, yeah, I had probably about 20 years ago, me and my brother and sister got together and we decided we were going to get out the old Ouija board and have a seance. And, of course, this person would call up from the dead is George Washington, and nothing seemed to happen. All the lights were out in the house. And then my brother decided that he was going to call Satan. And,
Oh, really? Poor idea.
and next thing you know, we heard a gust of wind, and the front door, we had a loud vestibule at the front of the house, and just a flimsy door, and that swung shut. So it would have taken an action of somebody pulling it or suction, a really strong breeze or something
Sure.
to shut the door.
Sure.
And we got startled, and we ran over there and didn't see anything. and we put on the light didn't work. So we went to get a light bulb, we put it in, and we had like a 2x4 carpet in the vestibule, and the impression left on the carpet was the trident, the devil's spear. The pitchfork?
Yes, oh, yes, I know.
And that nobody would have had the opportunity to do it, and they would have had to do it in the dark.
I'll tell you something, and I'll tell everybody else a brief story, which I sort of said I was never going to tell again. But that's a good one, sir. Thank you. And thank you, and we shall always remember you, by the way, as caller number 1 from Detroit. What is your first name again?
My name is Casey.
Casey. Casey from Detroit. Brother, thank you.
Well, it's good listening to you, Art, and I'm sure you're going to get a lot more listeners from Detroit.
All right, thank you. Yeah, good to be on the air there. Well, when I worked in Las Vegas, and for a number of years I did the program in Las Vegas, from the Union Plaza Hotel, it was called at that time. And one night when I was doing a show, this very night, as a matter of fact, a lady called up and claimed to be a witch. She gave me some very, very disconcerting information, personal knowledge, which I actually bleeped off the air. It was so personal, I couldn't believe that she could possibly know these things about me. And toward the end of the call, she said she was going to come and leave something for me. Well, she left me a Ouija board. An ancient Ouija board. I have never, nor will I to this day, tell you what has happened to that Ouija board. But when you call upon spirits, when you call upon the dark side, and you do it with something, an instrument, it does not matter, you'd better be damn careful what you're doing. Ouija boards are an opening. They're an opening into a world where there are things that you may not really wish to meet. So my advice to you, without telling you the detailed story of this board, which is frightening, my advice to you is do not play with Ouija boards. It's like opening a door, and you just don't know what's going to walk through. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hi.
Art.
Yes.
Hello, how you doing?
Okay, you're going to have to get into that phone and yell at us.
Alright, how's it?
I'm much better.
Alright, thanks.
Where are you?
I'm in Spokane.
Spokane, Washington.
Mighty
KVA. You bet.
I have a story for you.
All right, go ahead.
It's a doozy. About a year ago, I was staying at a friend's house up in Newport,
Mm-hmm.
and we were sitting down in the basement, right?
Yes.
And we were sitting there smoking cigarettes and talking back and forth.
Doing guy stuff.
Yeah. And I'm sitting there and I was watching my smoke, my cigarette go up, and all of a sudden I seen a face kind of appear into it, you know, the smoke going up into the air.
Mm-hmm.
And I asked my friend, you know, do you see it? And he's like, yeah. And it smiled kind of, and
It smiled?
yeah, it just smiled. And,
Now, I could understand people blow smoke rings.
yeah.
I could even understand blowing a face, but I can't understand it smile.
Yeah, it just kind of formed into a face. It was the strangest thing I've ever done. I still get shivers now.
And it smiled at you.
Yes.
Well, it's better than it frowned.
Yeah.
And then what happened to it then? Did it?
It just kind of dissipated really
Dissipated?
slowly.
God, that's weird.
He's told me about stories about seeing things in his house before too. So.
Well, I'll tell you then a little story. I have a photograph. Thank you very much for the call. I have a photograph of a ghost, a real ghost. It might be a wonderful night for some of you to get this photograph. If you have a computer and a modem, we've got a bulletin board service, and you can go in and get a photograph of this ghost. Actually, there are several ghost photographs. Oh, by the way, my guest this last Sunday on Dreamland sent me a photograph of a tornadic ghost. I don't know if that's a word. But it is obviously some sort of plasma material, at the top of a staircase in the shape of a tornado. Now, down toward the bottom of the tornado, it's translucent. In other words, you can begin to look through it and see the stairs. It's the damnedest thing you've ever seen. I'm going to get that one up on the bulletin board for you as soon as they send it to me to scan. I've got a scan of it right now, but I want to be able to scan it myself at a higher resolution rate. If you want to see a ghost, there is a man in Arizona who was a stone mason. He built stone, you know, he did basements. And he did a wine cellar for a fellow in about 100-year-old house. He was very proud of the work that he did. And when he was done, he took a photograph of his stone masonry work. It was beautiful. Only thing is, when the picture came out, quite clearly a translucent being appeared in the photograph, and it was captured very, very well on film. And we have published this photograph in our newsletter. And I might add, I've got it on our bulletin board, so if you want to download the picture of the ghost, you can call area code 702-727-1709 24 hours a day. I'll give that number to you again, 702-727-1709. And if you're able to download it with Z-modem protocol, you can download a photograph of this ghost. You take a look. There's a face, there's a body, there's arms, there's legs. It's a ghost. It's clear. It's in color. There's no mistake about it. There's some sort of spirit, some sort of entity in that photograph, and you're welcome to download it and take a look for yourself. We do a lot of that. We try to make some of this material available to you. So it does not all have to be the theater of the mind. That's what radio is. I want you to be able to see what I see so that you can see that I'm not totally crazy. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello.
Hi, Eric. This is Eric calling from Los Angeles, California.
Hi.
Hi, I have a really good ghost story I want to tell you.
Let her go.
Okay, this story happened in 1951. It was given to me by my father, and it happened to his cousin named Norbert. And he was at a movie theater and in Morgan Hill, California, and he was bleeding, going towards San Jose. And there's a stretch of road they call Monterey Highway that they called the Blood Alley. And one night after the movie was done, he was heading home to San Jose, heading north.
Sure.
And he was going about 45 miles an hour in his little car.
I know the road, by the way.
Yeah, and it's a little highway, and while he was going up there, he saw this, beautiful young-looking lady on the side of the road and walking really slowly. And he kind of slowed down, and he was looking over at her, and she had a beautiful white dress on, and she was looking down, and he slowly passed her, and he looked in his rearview mirror, and he saw her, and he slowed down a little bit more and was going, 10 miles an hour, and for some reason he got a really nervous feeling inside, and he slowly sped up because he was scared. He didn't know, exactly what it was, and if it was something different, he got a different feeling inside, and he decided he sped up a little bit. He was going about 35, 40 miles an hour. He happened to look back again, and it didn't go any further away. It wasn't leaving. And that really...
You mean the lady in the white dress was as close to him?
Yes. As it was the first time he saw her. And he really started getting nervous. And, he put his foot on the pedal and got up to about 50, 55 miles an hour.
Sure.
And he looked in the mirror, and it wasn't any... As a matter of fact, it was getting closer to him. Yeah. It was getting closer to his car.
Really?
On the passenger side.
There are many, sir, that have died on that road.
Yes, very. There was a lot of fatal accidents back in the 50s and early on and later on also. And as he got up to speed, he started really stepping on. He was frightened now. By this time, he was really frightened. He was going, tipping the car out to, I guess, 70, 75 miles an hour is what he said.
That'd be my reaction.
Yeah, he was really moving now.
I'm the let's get out of here kind of person.
Yes. And he looked in the mirror this time, and he looked in the, as a matter of fact, he didn't look in the mirror. He looked over to his right side where his little side mirror was, to get a better picture. And, the worst thing possibly happened that he thought happened. And there was a white dress floating next to the car. And when he looked at the window, he said he saw a face of a skeleton with white straw hair looking at him with its mouth open. And he was so frightened that he could not believe it. He slammed his brakes on in the middle of the road. It was late at night. In the middle of the road, slammed his brakes on, closed his eyes and tried to do a bit of prayer. And when he looked back, it was gone. He turned around and went back to his mother's house, which was about 20 miles the other way, and didn't go look back at all. And he went home and he told the story and told it to the whole family. And well, as far as I know, he never went down that road again if he could.
These things change your life forever.
Yeah.
It's thank you very much for the call. It's one thing to tell them, it's another to really experience them. When you do, it changes your life forever and ever. Because it does not matter what anybody else believes or chuckles about or laughs about. If you experience something like that, you're never, ever going to be the same. West of the Rockies, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning. This is Dennis from Vancouver.
Washington?
Yes. Let's see. I've got a ghost story. Sort of a ghost story. Almost a ghost story.
Look, that's like being almost present. Either you're a spirit or you're a physical entity. It's one or the other.
Well, I'll explain it and go from there.
All right, then maybe I can tell you.
I was up in Yosemite, National Park in California.
Yes.
And doing a Ouija board. There were, I guess, about 10 or 12 people in the room. There was only 2 of us on the board. The other people were, standing around watching, contributing their energy. And we got something that came across as being, negative. I don't necessarily want to say evil, but definitely negative oriented.
Do you want to tell us what it was?
Well, it wouldn't give us a name, but the impression that I have was that it was something higher up than just an ordinary demon. It was very strong, very intelligent.
Now, was this manifesting itself simply through moving on the Ouija board and spelling things out, or was
that's the way it started.
Okay.
We were, asking questions of it. At first we didn't know that it was evil, but, having done the Ouija board for several years prior to that, we've learned to ask appropriate questions to determine whether it's a positive or a negative entity. And after having determined that it was a negative entity, we were going to stop, but the rest of the people in the room wanted to continue because they were fascinated. So we went ahead and continued with it, which of course was our mistake. But
Hello, welcome to the stream. Now, here again.
Yeah, well, we found that out the hard way. We continued, speaking with it for about a minute or so. Yeah, yes. Unbeknownst to us, back behind the group, towards the corner of a room, a light started to form. Just in the middle of the air. It started off real small, but it was really bright. It was actually lighting up the room. The room got real cold, real fast. There was no bad smell or anything, but it was quite cold all of a sudden.
That'd be enough for me. Now, what I want to know first of all, before we continue this, I'd be out of there. I mean, in a flash, I'd be out of there. Lights against the ground. There ought not to be lights. The room gets cold. That'd be all I do.
Since my friend and I have been doing it for, on a semi-regular basis for a couple of years, we were fairly at least up to that point. We hadn't, gotten anything that strong before, but we pretty much knew how to, deal with it once it got to that point. My friend started getting sick to his stomach. I started, getting a little bit of a headache. So we stopped, with the board itself and basically moved back away, relaxed ourselves, started saying some prayers, at least I started imagining a golden light around myself, which is what I consider a protective light. And, went from there, and we just left the board alone, and the light did fade. We turned on the room light itself, and, the light just, faded out.
Well, that's good. There are a lot of people who would say to you, you should have been praying in the first place, not messing around with the Ouija board.
Well,
Because you know what can happen, sir?
oh yeah, I know
You can bring something like that into this world or across from wherever it comes from, and you can put your Ouija board away, and it won't matter because it's in.
Right, yeah, once it's done its full transformation crossover, yeah, but we managed to stop at the time.
So what would you advise people out there about Ouija boards?
Well, first of all, there are several good books out there. If you're really determined to use one, read the books on it first. The best thing to do is to, one of the most common questions, if you get a negative-oriented spirit, one of the most common questions that it will ask is, can I come in? And never think that it's referring to coming into the room or into your home or whatever. When it's asking that question, it's wanting to come into you. And you always say no. And if you get a question like that, I would suggest that you stop and don't mess with it anymore.
Okie dokie, thank you very much for the call. There are many out there who probably ought not mess around with this kind of thing at all. It's very serious. Not a joke. A Ouija board is simply an instrument, in my opinion. Now, it may be a particularly powerful instrument, but you can invite these sorts of forces in with or without a Ouija board. And my advice to you is, don't do it. Like an unwelcome in-law coming to visit, it might not leave. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Top of the morning to you.
Hello, Art. This is Jeff. I'm calling from Denver.
Denver, yes, sir. K-How, I imagine.
Yes, and I have a true fact story
that I can relate to you about spirits, ghosts, whatever you want to call them.
Let her rip.
I was living in an apartment complex, and a guy came over to me. I met him just inadvertently, and I was working in the legal field, and he asked me to check out whether or not his wife had been married before, and I did that, and I gave him information, and he came over to my apartment.
Had she been? I just want to know.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, it was Big Me.
Oh my.
He was married to her for 10 years, and she never got a divorce. So he came over to my house. He was crying.
Sure.
I took him over to his apartment and tried to calm him down. He went into a rage. He started tearing telephones out of the wall, breaking lamps, tables, etc. And then he came at me like he was going to attack me. He got right up close to me, and he fell down, and he started to convulse. And I thought, well, this guy has epilepsy.
Sure.
And then he jumped up again and did the same thing again and went down like someone hit him in the head with a ball bat. And I was frightened. The hair on my head went up. His eyes were rolling back. He was foaming at the mouth.
You're saying it was like he was in combat with some horse.
I don't know what was going on, but what I can say that really frightened me was he was speaking out of his own mouth and cursing me and doing all this, but there were multiple voices coming from it. Sometimes there were one, sometimes it sounded like 2 or 3 or 5 or 6. And then he stopped breathing, and the guy was foaming at the mouth, and that, I went down, I checked his pulse and all that, I had to give him CPR, get him breathing again, and I had to run over. He pulled the phone out of the wall. I had to run over to the neighbors and ask them to call the cops, and then the cops, the fire department, the EMTs, all them came over. They took him off to ER, and I thought, well, you know, when he was talking to me, it was horrible. It was something I can't even explain.
What would you say? Would you think he was possessed, or was he being beaten by some outside force?
Well, all I can say is there were voices coming out of his body when his eyes were rolled back and foaming at the mouth, he was writhing on the floor, and that sometimes it sounded like one person talking, sometimes it sounded like 5, 4, you know, whatever, talking. And so I gave him the CPR, they took him off, and then that was about 11 o'clock at night. And then about 4 in the morning, they let him out of ER. They came back to my apartment. And I said, get out of here, I don't want to talk to you.
I'm sure.
Get, leave, go, now. And then about 5 months after that, I met him in a parking lot of a shopping center. And I said, you know, do you realize what's going on? Do you understand? And he said, yeah, can you imagine what those cops did to my apartment? I said, the cops didn't do anything. You did that. And I talked with him for a while, and then he told me that he was an immigrant from France. He was in an orphanage in France, and as far as his convulsions and stuff, I asked him if he was epileptic or all that, and he said no. And I was talking with him, and then he said, you know, I was in an orphanage in France, and 2 priests told me I was possessed. And I said, oh, gee, and that was the end of it. I didn't talk to him after that.
That's enough. All right, my friend, thank you. That's quite enough. Well, what to say about that? We were talking about inviting entities in moments ago. Maybe on occasion they invite themselves in. Maybe on occasion they take the minds of those who can be taken. Have you thought of that? Wildcard Line, you're on the air. Good morning.
Good morning, WBC, Duluth, Superior.
In Wisconsin.
Actually, I'm in Duluth, but
Duluth, Minnesota. I'm sorry.
yeah,
All right.
yeah,
your Detroit station is coming through pretty good too.
All right.
Say, are you going to tell us what happened to your Ouija board?
Absolutely not.
Can't talk me into it, huh?
No, that's one story I really won't tell. It scares me, and I don't like telling it. Not even on this day. It scares the hell out of me. That's one thing that really did scare me, and that's so. I warn people about Ouija boards. How about you? Do you have a story?
Yeah, I got a quick one for you.
All right.
Back in the 50s, my mom was seeing a gentleman in school. She was a junior in high school. I guess they were really in love with each other, this, that, and the other thing. And one night, she was sleeping, and she kind of stared in bed, and she woke up and saw him standing in the room, the bedroom. What are you doing here? And he just kind of faded away. And the next day, she found out he was killed in a car accident. So.
Oh, there's a lot of stories like that. There's a lot of stories. Thank you very much. Now, you see, I believe we had Brad Steiger on a couple of weeks ago, and actually we've been kind of doing the warm-up to Halloween for some time now. But there are many, many stories. It seems when many die, the energy that is us, the energy that may be our soul, our essence, whatever it is you want to call it, you give your own name to it, has something that it must say to somebody that it has left behind. It must say it, and somehow that energy either still here on Earth or from elsewhere, finds its way back long enough to assure the person that it loves, or to pass a message that must be passed, information that a loved one must have, and somehow the energy makes it back. This me. This two talk shows. East of the Rockies, you're on the air. Hello. Where are you?
Pardon?
Where are you?
Corpus Christi, Texas.
All right, welcome.
Well, yes, I have several ghost stories, but I don't have that much time.
Now give us your best.
I was okay. One time my husband and I had a disagreement, and he said, just solitude and carrying on, and I've not had it. And I was very upset, and my mom said, well, you need to cool down, and so she said, let's go to this thrift store that happened to be in a hospital. And we were walking down the corridor.
Why is it that when women get upset, they go shopping? True, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, it is. But anyway, my mom and I were walking down the corridor, and in the hospital, you hear there's like speakers, and there's like, Dr.
Jones.
Dr. Jones on the arm. You know, we don't pay attention to these things.
That's right.
And anyway, I was upset, and she said, calm down. I said, no, this is it. I am upset. And nothing you can say, mother, is going to change my mind. She said, well, I really think you need to cool down. I said, well, nope, that's it. At that point, we heard a voice walk by, and it just asked a real voice, where did you leave Ben? And we didn't pay attention to it until we walked about 2 feet. And then my mom and I looked at each other, and we turned around together, and we saw a tall, almost 25 black-haired man and a short man. And they both had on those white gowns, and their skin was gray tone. And we both looked at it, and then I kept looking at it, and then the tall guy turned around in like a Frankenstein stance and looked directly into my eyes. And he lifted his head up just a bit, like telling me, I'm gonna get you. Because you're vulnerable. Because you can be mine. And then he just turns around and he walks off with the other short guy. And we both looked at them, and their skin tone was like, it was gray as if they were, as if dead for years. And then I looked at my mom, and she looked at me, and she said, make the sign of the cross. We both made the sign of the cross. And she said, look, when you're this upset with somebody, an evil spirit, know that you're vulnerable. And at this point, he says, you need to cool down because this is how bad things happen.
Well, I'll bet you if her first speech didn't work, this one did.
Yeah, well, I still haven't forgiven him, but,
You did come back.
oh yeah, I did calm down. And there are, I just want to tell everybody that there are bad spirits out there. And that when you're being negative and you're vulnerable and you don't have the fear of Christ or something that's more powerful than them, then they can get them. But if you have, if you can say a prayer that now and then,
It's a matter of weakness.
it's a matter of weakness, like you were saying. It's a matter of weakness, and they'll come right on in, and this is how bad things happen.
It's such a good point, thank you. Even if I were to relate it to what I do, and on this program, we talk about a million things. This is like any other, not like any other program you've ever heard. We delve into areas that are there really is no explanation for it. I can't put it into words. You're just going to have to listen to the program. Not just this one, but the one we do on a regular basis, and you'll begin to get the idea. We don't bore in, we're not like other talk shows. We don't bore in only on politics or anything else. We do whatever comes up on any given night. And occasionally, we'll be in the political arena and we'll be talking about something very trivial. And somebody will push my button. Now, in latter years, I've tried to let it happen less and less, but my button can be pushed. And there have been over the years a few times, mind you, a few times when I have virtually lost it. I mean, I've become red-faced, heart-pounding, totally out of it, angry, and just totally blew up on the air. It does not happen very frequently, but it has occurred. Let me tell you, when that does occur, folks, as this lady just said, in my opinion, these are very, very vulnerable moments. And it's possible that if there is something close, something waiting for you, you are vulnerable. And it could take you in an instant. You don't believe it? Just heed my warning. You're listening to Ghost AM. From the great American Southwest and the high desert, I'm Art Bell. We'll be right back.